Most comparisons of Duda versus Wix end the same way. They're both great, pick whichever one feels right. That is not this video, because these two aren't competing for the same person. One of them is sold to the people who own the business. The other is sold to the people who build websites for a living. Once you see that, the whole comparison changes shape. I'm going to show you what each one actually does and what it really costs past the first month. Then what people say once the trial ends and the bill turns up. I haven't run an agency on either of these. What I did instead was pull both pricing pages up on the same afternoon. Then I read both companies' own support documentation and went through what customers have filed publicly about each one. That last part gets genuinely strange because the two review scores look nothing alike, and the reason is not what you'd guess. By the end, you'll know which of these fits the way you actually work. And I'm starting with the thing that decides it. It isn't the editor and it isn't the templates. It's one line in how each company charges you. Number 1. What each one is actually built for. Read the top of each homepage and they just tell you. Duda calls itself the AI-ready website platform built for pros. Underneath, it says it's empowering agencies and SaaS platforms to build or integrate sites at scale. Wix says it's the new way to create a website. It talks about going from words to a business-ready site that's entirely yours to shape. Notice what's missing from Duda's version. There's no promise to the small business owner anywhere in it. Duda is talking to the person who builds sites for other people. Wix is talking straight to you, the owner. Start free, describe what you want, get a site. That's a genuinely good experience, and Wix has spent 20 years sanding it smooth. Designers who bounced off Webflow and Framer say Wix Studio was the one that finally clicked. So the first verdict is easy. If you're building one site for your own business, Wix is aimed squarely at you, and Duda isn't really trying to win you. Number 2, what it really costs. Here's where taste stops mattering. At the time of recording, Wix runs a free tier, then Lite at $17 a month. Core is $29, Business is $39, and Business Elite is $159. Duda has no free tier at all. Basic is $19, Team is $29, Agency is $52, and White Label is $149, all billed annually. Line those up, and Duda looks like the expensive one. Look closer. Wix charges per website. Every site you launch needs its own plan. Duda charges per account, and each plan includes a number of published projects. Basic and Team include 1. Agency and White Label include 4. Run that out. One website. Wix Lite is $17 a month, and the free tier is nothing at all. Duda can't touch that. 4 websites on Wix Business is 4 times $39, so $156 a month. 4 websites on Duda Agency is $52, flat. Same 4 sites, roughly a third of the price. Duda's own pricing page says the quiet part out loud. Move up to the Team plan, and your cost per additional site drops to $17. Agency users make a related point in their reviews. They say the professional tooling pays for itself in hours, not in features. Handing a finished site to a client stopped being a training session. That's the trade. Wix wins decisively at one site. Duda wins decisively the moment you're running several, and the gap gets wider with every site you add. Number 3. What happens when you want to leave? Almost nobody covers this, and real users keep asking about it. Under one of the bigger comparison videos on this topic, somebody asks a good question. Why won't these builders let you download your website and host it yourself? Nobody answers them. So here's the answer, taken from each company's own documentation. Duda has a site export tool. On the agency plan and above, you can download a zip of your published site and host it somewhere else entirely. That's straight from Duda's support pages. Wix does not have that. Wix's own help center says it plainly. You can't use another host for a Wix site, because the architecture uses Wix's proprietary technology and relies on Wix's services to operate. You can transfer your domain away. The site itself stays behind. Be fair about what that actually means, though. Most people never move a website. If you're building one site for your own shop, you'll probably still be on it in 5 years. But when you build for clients, this is a different shape of risk. It isn't your business that gets stuck, it's theirs. So, the verdict on that one. If you want the option to walk away with the site in your hands, only one of these two gives it to you. Number 4. What it's like once you have clients. A viewer under that same comparison noticed the two partner programs are geared differently and said it brings more decisions. She's right, and it's worth spelling out. Duda's client billing is white labeled the whole way through. Invoices go out under your own email domain with your branding. The checkout flow is yours, and you set the price your client pays. Your client never sees what Duda charges you. Duda documents all of that on its client billing page. That isn't a design feature, it's a margin feature. It's the difference between reselling websites and merely building them. Wix's answer here is Wix Studio, its agency product, and it's a strong one. The open design canvas gives you more creative freedom than Duda does. That's the honest trade running the other way. So, if your client should only ever see your name on the invoice, Duda does that out of the box. If design control matters more to you than whose logo sits on the bill, Wix Studio has the better canvas. Number 5. What people say once the trial ends. The review scores look lopsided, and the story underneath them is the interesting part. As of August 2026, Duda sits at 4.7 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Wix sits at 3.5, with regional pages ranging from 3.4 to 3.7. Before you read anything into that, look at the sample size. Duda's score comes from around 194 reviews. Wix's comes from about 28,600. Those two numbers are not measuring the same thing. Duda gets bought on purpose by professionals who researched it first. Wix's base includes millions of people who signed up on a whim and then met a renewal a year later. That said, one complaint about Wix is far too consistent to wave off, and it's billing. The Better Business Bureau has a documented case of an attempted $324 renewal charge this April. One analysis counted more than 550 complaints filed against Wix at the Bureau across 3 years. On the Wix subreddit back in February, there's a thread about billing and refused refunds, including a reported $900 case. Cancel carefully and keep your confirmation emails. Duda's users have their own recurring complaint and its support. One agency had been with Duda for 15 years, paying for an agency subscription. In January, they wrote that the platform kept improving while the customer service fell apart. 3 weeks had passed without a resolution. Another reviewer last October described being nickel and dimed on paid features instead of watching basic gaps get closed, and Duda's app library is genuinely thinner than Wix's. The independent reviewers don't agree with each other either. Host Advice picked Wix in March for speed, simplicity and support. ToolRadar picked Duda in May, while adding that you should take Wix if you need a free tier. So the verdict here is uncomfortable but useful. Wix's risk sits on your credit card. Duda's risk is waiting on an answer. Neither of those ever shows up in a feature table. The verdict: 3 situations. Find the one that's yours. If you're building a single website for your own business, take Wix. Start on the free tier. Move up to Lite or Core when you need the domain and the storage. And don't overthink it. Duda is more platform than you need, and you'd pay more for the privilege. Just set a calendar reminder a week before your renewal. If you build sites for other people and you want your name on the invoice, take Duda. The agency plan at $52 carries 4 sites. The billing is white labeled, and you can export a client site if the relationship ends. That combination is the entire reason Duda exists. And if you're a designer whose work is the product, where control of the canvas beats reselling, take Wix Studio. You give up the white label billing and the export door. You get the better design tool. Here's the one-line version. Wix sells you a website, Duda sells you a way to run a business making websites. Pick the sentence that sounds like your week. I've put links to both in the description. Some of them are affiliate links, so I get a small commission if you use them at no extra cost to you. Now I'm curious about one thing. If you've ever moved a site off either platform, how did it actually go? Tell me in the comments, because that's the part the pricing pages never mention.